Olumide Shokoya. Also here with me is Vivian Oguche. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Olumide. Good morning, and good morning to the viewer and listener. How are you today?
I'm doing well.
Good.
All right. Yes. So on the program, we always discuss actions and inactions of government, ministries, departments, and agencies, as well as business and health affairs that shape our worldview. The program also encapsulates personalities and, of course, institutions that make decisions that affect the lives of the people one way or the other. And then we also avail you, our listener, the opportunity of calling into the program and ask questions from the topic of discussion of the day. Once again, welcome to On Record, where every word matters.
On Record,
every word matters.
The Rivers crisis is a political crisis between the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, and of course the Governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara. With Wike's visit to the National Vice Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Victor Giadom, being seen as a political realignment. Now, the crisis has led to an impeachment notice being served to Governor Fubara, but it has since been withdrawn. The situation remains politically charged, with Wike and Giadom expressing their support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, the Rivers crisis started as a political rift between Governor Fubara and his predecessor, Nyesom Wike, which escalated into an impeachment notice, the bombing and, of course, the demolition of the House of Assembly complex, the emergence of factional speakers, and a constitutional quagmire. Now, despite President Tinubu's intervention, the crisis remains unresolved. President Tinubu's revelation coincided with the reconfirmation by the Rivers State House of Assembly of 9 commissioners who resigned from the state cabinet at the heat of the power tussle between Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his predecessor, Nyesom Wike, the incumbent Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. The reconfirmed commissioners voluntarily tendered their resignation letters to demonstrate their allegiance to Wike. Now, although he was instrumental to Fubara's election, both men had since parted ways. The arrangement to return the former commissioners was part of the controversial peace deal brokered between them by the President, Bola Tinubu. However, the Wike camp accused the governor of demolishing the assembly complex to stop his impeachment. They also forgot that Wike, sometime in July 2021, had said that the complex is not befitting and due for rebuilding to a global standard that befits Rivers State. Now, for now, 25 lawmakers of the House who defected from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the All Progressive Congress, APC, hold plenary at the conference room of the House of Assembly quarters. Again, Nyesom Wike accused Fubara of trying to destroy the political structure that brought him into power. Godfatherism is an ill wind that blows no one any good. Now, the ongoing Rivers crisis is the latest case of godfatherism in Nigeria. From all the indications, Wike is hell-bent on calling the shots in Rivers from Abuja. Now, Rivers is not an extension of the Federal Capital Territory. Does he want to become a minister of Rivers State when there is a sitting governor? That's a billion-dollar question. A ship cannot have 2 captains. And of course, as governor, Fubara is solely accountable to the people of Rivers State and not Nyesom Wike. The phone line will be open shortly, 0700 1021 1021. You can also send a WhatsApp message to 0907 224 5018. We'll go on a short break now, and when we come back, we begin with the conversation. Stay tuned.
On Record,
every word matters.
Welcome to On Record.
Every word matters.
What I want to do is to take Nigeria from consumption to production.
My name is Mr. Innocent Chuboma. I started by trading on motorcycle scrappers.
They really ask, how much is the Nigerian life worth?
Policing is everybody's business, not the business of the men on uniform alone.
We will establish student loan 4 years course. Must be 4 years course.
When you dispense, a pharmacist dispenses a drug to a patient, the name of the drug must be written on the envelope.
On Record is a 45-minute program.
Divest, divest, divest.
Welcome back to On Record, where every word matters on High Impact 102.1 FM. Don't forget, we are live on High Impact TV. That's on Nikonsat 42 degree east. We're also live on YouTube and on X at High Impact 102.1 FM. You can also call our phone line 0700 1021 1021, or you can send WhatsApp message to 0907 224 5018. To join the discussion, our topic today is a review on democratic governance in Rivers. And joining us for an in-depth analysis via phone call is Dakpo Adaramewa. Good morning, and it's great to have you on the program. Dakpo, are you there?
Yes, hello. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Can you hear me? All right.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. I'm glad to have you on the program. We're looking at what's happening in Rivers State. We're trying to see what's the democratic governance is like, and if possible, a way forward in this. I want to believe that the peak period, or the peak of the crisis in Rivers State, was the bombing and, of course, the demolition of the State Assembly complex, which also escalated into a lot of defections from the assembly members there who defected. They actually defected. I think about 25 of them defected. And I remember Siminalayi Fubara saying that they only exist at his mercy, meaning that their defection, going by the constitution, renders their seat vacant. And the latest report we also got from Siminalayi yesterday was that he was going to probe the past administration of Nyesom Wike in some quarters. Some people are saying that he was part of that administration. He was the accountant general of that administration. So you probing that administration, are you going to exempt yourself out of this? But the first question I want to ask is, in your own understanding, let's start from the genesis. In your own understanding, what do you think is the genesis of the fracas between Governor Siminalayi Fubara and, of course, Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike?
I think the truth is anybody outside of their inner circle would probably not know the truth, the clear truth as to what happens. We can only go by what has been told to us. But I think what is very clear is that we have two individuals who clearly have very little concern for the state at this point because they are too busy wrestling and fighting each other. The very people that voted both of them in are secondary concern now. And this is a function of settling score. There's no discussion around governance. There's no discussion around, particular projects that maybe the outgoing governor or the ex-governor did that were wrong, or that the incoming governor is proposing that the ex-governor does not agree with. You see that the subject of discussion isn't really about the development of the state. It is more about personal political scores, allegiances, loyalty. And loyalty to what? Loyalty to themselves, to their own personal goals, and not to the people or to the goals or the interests of the people. Because to my knowledge, not one or nobody has brought up any particular thing that comes from the state people in all of this discussion. It is about what you said to me, what you didn't do to me. This one wants money, this one does not. It's a very shameful state of affairs. And there's that old saying that you can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And these demagogues seem to lose grasp of the fact that eventually the people will get tired and have to manage it. Of the truth, there's nobody knows, but there's a lot of suffering in town, and people are going through a lot. And to see men at that level wrestling each other, I mean, the former governor is now basically almost like a governor of the FCT. What is it he wants? You want to rule how many states? You want to become a mini president? What is his? I've said your time as governor, you have finished. You are now in charge of another state. You are not discussing what you are going to do with that state or where you are going to take that state or what your vision is for that state. Instead, you are wrestling for places where you really should have no interest. But it's a very strange and painful state of affairs, unfortunately.
All right. Before we go further, Dap, are you there? All right. Before we go further, let's paint different scenarios. Let's liken this situation to other situations that have happened in Nigeria. Let's look at the case of Oshomole and Governor Obaseki. If you remember that fiasco, let's look at that. Let's put that one somewhere. Let's also look at the case that happened between former Governor Ambode and our president now, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Do you see any similarities or differences? What can you say about these three scenarios that I've just painted?
It's a culture in Nigerian politics that when you finish your term, you do everything within your power to extend it. You find what you or someone you consider to be a stooge, you put them in place, they pledge loyalty to you, and then you serve in perpetuity. This has been the desire of all men with power since the beginning of all of history. And the truth is, they always fail. That's the one consistent fact in history. From Alexander the Great to our own governors now, you will fail. You cannot rule any set of people forever. So, but it's an obsession that they all have, and they are continuing, and it's playing out, and it's being done at the cost of the people. And it's a mistake that the Nigerian political class makes in thinking that you can keep a large group of people in abject poverty for a very long time and nothing will happen. It will backfire eventually. It might not be now, but it will backfire eventually. So this obsession with serving in perpetuity or being lord over a state forever, it's just people being drunk on power. There's nothing different. It happened with all these other cases that you mentioned, and it's happening now. And yet the people are watching silently, watching the elephants fight while they themselves suffer.
But there's something There's something you said earlier on. You said nobody has mentioned the people of Rivers State. So I want us to probe that point further. How does this unpalatable situation affect the security, economy, and general governance in the state? Just give us a picture. How does this affect the people?
In order to be...
Dakwa, are you there?
Effective for... Yes, I'm here. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can go ahead.
Identity is huge. There's so many things for you to consider. There's so many variables for you to monitor. That it in itself is an overwhelming job without distractions. It is something that requires you to be looking at all different aspects, the jobs for your people, the development of your state, the infrastructure that is going on, observing to make sure that the very people you put in power are not being corrupt, they are not abusing the power, to make sure all ministries are working, to make sure that your civil servants are paid on time. There's so many things to think about as a governor, and you must have a strategic vision for where you're going, and you must keep your mind on that. But in as much as they are focused on other things, they can't do that. That's not possible.
All right.
You just can't.
All right, Dakwa, before we go further, are we saying, because from what you've said, are we saying that there's no loyalty in politics? Because if you look at the three scenarios I painted earlier on, the key factor there is loyalty. That's what that's what brought about the friction, loyalty. Are we saying that there's no loyalty in politics?
No, it's not. I think the problem is, in as much as political positions come with such trappings, such access to vast amounts of wealth, such access to almost unlimited, unchecked power. Most state assemblies are not there to check the governors. They are appendages of the governor's power, and that's why you hear statements like a governor saying, "You are serving at my will." Does the Constitution provide for the governor to allow the assembly to serve at its will? There's something called the concept of separation of powers. It means that the legislature in itself is another source of power, and its power doesn't stream from the government. Its power streams from the Constitution, right? So, in as much as these positions hold such trappings of power, men will always fight for it. Men will be willing to die for it, and men will be doing whatever it takes to hold on to it. This is just the very painful reality of politics in Nigeria. And one can only hope that eventually there's a change, But the change in truth will only come when the people of these different states decide that enough is enough. Until the people of Rivers State say enough is enough, and at the next election they are not cajoled by the same nonsense and the same, same small gifts, then we will continue to face these situations. We as a people must at some point say that maybe it's not them, maybe it is us. What are we doing wrong that these kind of men rule us?
That's food for thought, if you ask me. Earlier on, my colleague Olumide talked about how this whole crisis has resulted to an impeachment notice, the bombing and demolition of the House of Assembly complex, and the emergence of factional speakers, and also a constitutional complexity. It's almost close to a state of anarchy. Now, what role do you think the federal government should play in resolving this crisis? Do you think federal government should even intervene at all?
Sorry? I didn't quite catch your question.
So, what role do you think the federal government should play in resolving this crisis?
You see, that's a very tricky question. Again, because there's only so much the federal government can do as per the Constitution, right? Because there has to be that separation of powers. But I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu showed leadership in the fact that he stepped in and tried to resolve this matter earlier on. But it would seem that that influence is waning now at this point. And we would hope that he would get involved and try and help them resolve. But again, constitutionally, there's a limit to what he can do. And so he can try and influence these individuals. But I think there's another election coming. There's enough time to battle it out at polls. But the battle doesn't have to start now. The battle doesn't come at the cost of governance. Because if Wike is saying that it is his passion that is leading him to take it, and for what it's what, let him keep quiet and hold on and be patient. We look at when Tinubu had issues with Ambode. The issues were there before that election came around. The issues had been there, but what he didn't do was reduce the state to a state of fracas, to make the state ungovernable. That was strategy. So you give him some kudos for that, and when the time came, they fought it out, they battled it out, among the delegates, and clearly one winner emerged. So I see no reason why Wike shouldn't take this mature step and say, okay, no problem. You have about 3 years left. Enjoy yourself. And when it is time, we will have in the appropriate forum. Let him get on with the job of governance. Now, are you going to fight this out for the next 3 years, or you want to impeach the governor? But to what end? Who is?
All right, Dr. Daramewa. Now, a question which I think we also need to look at is what are the potential consequences of the crisis happening right now? Do you think that the crisis would affect the political landscape of Rivers State in short and long term? Because definitely, if Fubara wants to leave office, he might likely even have his own anointed candidate. And looking at what has happened in recent time, do you think this might be something that would become a pattern in Rivers State?
So, if they continue like this, then there's little hope for any progress for the people of the state. There's very little hope for any kind of achievement. But then again, Fubara himself is kind of stuck, because at this point, if he does not contend, then there's not much left. It really has no. It has no object. He has no room for maneuver, because Wike has put him in such a tight spot.
Are you saying, sorry to cut you short, Dr. Daramewa, are you saying there are no other alternative, there are no options for Fubara at this point, that he must bow to the powers that be at this point, that he cannot, there's no way out for him?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying at this point, Fubara has to pretty much continue to fight. Because they have a situation has been created around him that will make him unable to govern his own state. Has no option but to I guess battle it out. But it's just a shame that all of this is happening so publicly, so crass, in such a crass fashion. It is very sad, because let's not forget that Wike himself had several issues with his predecessor.
Yes.
One would say that maybe some pundits have already said that Wike is reaping what he sowed. But Wike, would argue that what he did because it was in the interest of the people, because certain hands were not letting him govern the state in what was going to be the best interest of the people. And so, the cycle has almost come round again.
Absolutely. You took the words right out of my mouth. Now, and then again, if you listened earlier on during my colleague's introduction of the subject, he said the incumbent governor, Fubara, says he's going to probe the administration of his predecessor. Now, would you call that tit for tat, or would you say it is the way to go?
Well, as the Accountant General, will have to be part of the probing that he's doing. Well, like the former accountant, he will be probing himself. You know, he was part of the administration. It is a tit for tat. You know, he is, you know, doing all that I guess he feels he can at this point. But again, both.
Doc, are you there? All right, let's quickly go on a short break and we'll be right back.
High Impact Radio, 102.1
On record.
FM.
Every word
The
matters.
future is now.
Welcome to On Record.
Do you know
Every
that production
word
can
matters.
kill a great content idea?
Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393 5694 or 0915 958 1881. High Impact Studios, the future.
Something big is in town. Something powerful and majestic. A mammoth creation destined to become a legend by all who encounter it. High Impact Planet, Nigeria's biggest family theme park with facilities designed for friends, families, or large groups under a relaxing atmosphere. Be welcomed by wowing displays of animatronics, thrill out with realistic arcade games, or enjoy a number of thrilling heart-racing park rides. Experience the 5D and 12D cinemas and challenge your mates with bumper cars and go-kart races. Don't forget to slide into the ice rink or simply take time out to enjoy a pizza at our delightful restaurant and dessert spot or at the exquisite club lounge. High Impact Planet, 12 Lagos Ibadan Expressway, Ibafo, opposite MFM Prayer City. Visit high-impactplanet.com for details and inquiries. Fun just got real.
Welcome to the high side of life. Join us every day at High Impact 102.1 FM, your urban lifestyle station.
I just want to be here.
Radio 102.1 FM. The future is now. High Impact Radio 102.1 FM. The future is now.
Welcome back to On Record, where every word matters on High Impact 102.1 FM. Don't forget that you can also watch us live on TV. That's on Nikon Sat 42 degree East. We are also live on YouTube and on X at High Impact 102.1 FM. The phone line is also open 0700 1021 1021. You can also send WhatsApp message to 0907 224 5018. We're still discussing the rivers crisis with Dapo Adaramewa. Dapo Adaramewa, I beg your pardon. Earlier on, you were talking about something. You were trying to make a point. Can you go ahead with that?
Oh, okay. I think generally I was just discussing the fact that unfortunately it would seem that all parties have lost focus on the people. And then I think maybe it is now a question of the people themselves. Because they ultimately all power rests with the people. Maybe the people themselves should start recalling some of their their local houses of assembly members. Because the Constitution allows so that by the time we start recalling some of them, because let's not forget, it's not just the elephants that can battle it out. Because these things are being done at the expense of the people. So maybe by the time that recall, they themselves will now start a level of clarity that in all of our machinations and calculations, there's a demographic that we are forgetting. Because should the people constantly stay silent in all of this, then ultimately they will get the worst end of the stick, as they always do, unfortunately.
All right, before we took the break, this was a question I asked. If probing the past administration was tit for tat, or if it was the way to go. And you were saying that if the incumbent governor is going to probe the past administration, he was going to probe himself. That was the point you were making. Would you land on that before we move on?
Yes, definitely. I think, obviously, he was a member of that administration. And nobody is saying that there is no merit to probing the past administration if there is genuine belief that things happened that were at the detriment of the people. But sometimes you can do the right thing in the wrong way and for the wrong reasons. It would seem that he's only simply responding to the hostilities that he himself received or has been receiving, let's just say, from the outgoing government. Right, so it's a very shameful kind of situation, and is probing that administration. Is this the right time for that? Maybe not. But to what end? Again, it's again everything boils down to an absolute, utter disregard of the people. The people are they are just tools as far as these men are concerned. Tools that do not even warrant any form of respect, which is quite painful to see.
All right, Dapo Adaramewa, while you said that the federal government would try as much as possible to stay neutral, we still have a platform, we still have their political party, who I feel should be able to step in. What do you think the People's Democratic Party can do at this point, even though, yes, Wike still has some grudges against the party, also against the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, and all that. But what do you think the People's Democratic Party, can do at this point to step in, wade in, and resolve this crisis?
I pointed out correctly that the People's Democratic Party is having some personal issues with Wike already. But that does not mean they should not show some party structure, some cohesion. Because here's a party that is coming. A party is coming to the Nigerian people and saying, "Let us run this country for you. We know how to do it. We have technical expertise. We have everything it takes to run this country for you." But even something as simple as running their own state, it's turning out to be their own party. It's turning out to be a woeful failure. if you can, it is almost like somebody whose internal house, you can see your neighbor, his house is in disarray, his children are fighting, you know, and he comes to you and says, come, let me help you settle your family matters. If you are coming to the people of Nigeria and you're saying PDP is the party that will lead Nigeria to greater heights, have you created a mess within your party? How are you unable to manage the characters within the party? It's sad thing. So there's failure on so many levels, we could say. But at the core of it all is an absolute disregard of the people. It is a message to the people that you do not matter. In the middle of everything, in the highest, one of the highest levels of inflation we've ever seen, as petrol prices are rising, as all of these things are happening, as people are suffering drastically in ways we haven't seen in years, decades, as we are gripped at the grip of that, what are our leaders doing? What are they doing? What is their primary concern?
Okay, Dakpo. So, former Governor Nyesom Wike recently visited Gyadom. Victor Gyadom is the National Vice Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in the South region of Nigeria. Now, this visit has been tagged a political realignment by Wike. This is like poking a stick in the eyes of the PDP. What's going on? As a party man yourself, what should the party do to someone who seems to be involved in anti-party activities? What should be done?
Doc, are you there?
No, I'm not. Sorry, I didn't quite catch what you said.
Okay, let me take that again. So, former Governor Nyesom Wike visited Victor Gyadom recently. Victor Gyadom, as I was saying, is the National Vice Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in the South region of Nigeria. Now, Wike's visit to Victor Gyadom has been tagged a political realignment. This is Wike realigning with the APC, and both of them pledged allegiance to President Bola Tinubu. Now, this is my question to you. As a party man yourself, this is like poking a stick in the eyes of the PDP. What should be done to someone who seems to be involved in anti-party politics?
I think each party will have its own constitution as to what exactly should be done. I think the clear general rule is that if you make it clear that you have no loyalty to the party and you're not working within the interests of the party, then maybe you should step down
from the party.
Yes, most definitely, and align yourself with the people you seem to be working best with. But I think, if I am to guess why PDP seems slow to respond, because on one hand, one has to be careful that we stay focused on the fact that our primary loyalty and goal is to the development of the nation itself. And so that involves, when it is not election season, we must be able to put aside our difference and work again in the interest of the nation as a whole. And so that's why the act of, shall we say, working towards the success of Nigeria, even when an opposing party is in place, is not, shouldn't always be considered a traitorous act. Because again, our primary loyalty is not to the party, but to the people and to the nation itself. So maybe that's the guise under which we came allowed some of the things he is doing. And again, it's a very tricky place to be, or shall we say, a tricky one to resolve, because anybody whose priority is the well-being of the nation, willing to work with anybody, whoever they are, wherever, so long as it is in the interest of advancement of the interest of the people that you are there to serve.
All right, Dako Adaramewa, let's look at the people. I mean, we've been talking about the political leaders, the juggernauts, the team players, and all that. Let's look at the people. What lesson can the people of Rivers State take home from this, and how can it affect them in the next election? How can they be able to avoid this kind of crisis in the future? I'm talking about the people this time around.
I think it.
Dakwa, are you there?
It's time that the people. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I said I think it's time for the people of Nigeria. It is time. It's not.
Dakwa, are you there? The network is a bit strange this morning, but let's quickly go on a short break, and when we come back, we can. Are you there, Dakwa?
Yes, I'm here. I can hear you.
All right. Could you start again? We did not get you at the beginning.
Okay. Yes, I was saying that maybe it should start putting in people and trying new things, rather than the same old people, because clearly it doesn't seem to be paying out in the long run. There doesn't seem to be continuity from these parties. I don't see Fubara completing any projects that were started under their, or focusing their attention on that. So maybe it's time that the people try something new, and try and vote in people with, let me say, compassion.
Okay, Dapo. So earlier on, you talked about godfatherism in Nigeria. Now, the thing is, the Wike Fubara crisis does not hold a monopoly to fights between a godfather and the anointed candidates, so to say. So what can be learned from this? How can this spark a political reform in Nigeria? Now, my question is hydra-headed. Also, is this peculiar to Nigeria and Africa, or does this also play out in other climes of, the world when it comes to politics?
I think it definitely plays out in other parts of the world. I know, for example, Pakistan, the politics is dominated by a handful of families, about 5 families that have held power since they became a democracy. Even in the US, you had the Bush family, who have held power twice and attempted to hold it a third time. So it's not a particularly new concept. It's just that if there is law and order, then the law should prevent people from that, shall we say, the nature. It's the nature of power, of those in power, to want more, to want to always hold on to it. It's a very addictive thing, power. So in many ways, we're not going to hire angels, or shall we say, elect angels that are completely, not moved by these human needs for power. But that is where the law comes in. It is the guardrail to prevent people from these behaviors. But unfortunately, the law itself has become a part of the political tools. Shall we say, the courts themselves are political arenas for fighting. And if we do not see a stop to that, if we do not see that house that is supposed to be a checkmate to the executive is not doing its job, then things would only get worse.
All right, Dr. Adaramera, shortly before we go, we've run out of time. I'd like to ask you this question. It's a bit tricky one, but I'll ask anyway. do you believe in the concept of godfatherism in politics? And just like you rightly said, you said this is not the first time, or this is not the only part of the world that we are seeing godfatherism. So do you believe in the concept of godfatherism, whereby there's someone at the back playing a key role, serving as a backbone, a financier, and all that for a particular candidate? Do you believe in this theory of godfatherism in politics? And can it work?
Well, I think there's nothing wrong with leaders of old serving as advisors and providing a source of mentorship, because everybody needs a mentor. Even the governor needs a mentor. There's nothing wrong with them serving in that capacity. But where it becomes an extension of power beyond what the Constitution allows, then that's where it becomes a problem. So as a mentor, it doesn't mean you take charge and you tell somebody who's sitting on that seat what to do. But you can advise, and there's nothing wrong with that. And in many ways, it helps us overcome some of the shortfalls of democracy, because democracy has you thinking about just the next 4 years, the next 8 years. But in reality, when you look at the nations that have made rapid advancements, they often had leaders who were able to think 20 years down the line and make decisions that might not pay off for another 10 years. So that role of mentorship and continuity in itself is not wrong, but where there is a lack of guardrails and limits, then it becomes a problem.
All right, thank you, Dakwa Daramera. Thank you very much for taking part in the discussion. We do appreciate all your contributions. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Okay.
All right. Yes, that last question was the actual.
It was the clincher.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the thing about that term, Godfather, in Nigeria, I think people don't like hearing it. Maybe we should start using names like elder statesman.
Yes, mentor. Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
But just like you rightly said, that you can actually serve as a godfather, as a mentor, mentoring people, advising people. But you do not let you do not go in contracts with the Constitution. That is when it becomes excess and all that.
Absolutely.
So I think the people of Rivers and even Nigerians at large can take cue from this. They can learn from what is going on in Rivers State, and I hope this will also help people steer their minds towards the next election and all that.
They can also be open letters. There's someone who's good at writing open letters in this country. Maybe you should write an open letter, to resolve the Rivers crisis.
Definitely, I'm sure Baba would definitely write an open letter.
Absolutely.
Very soon. But this is where we will round off today's program on record, where every word matters on High Impact 102.1 FM. Keep listening to High Impact 102.1 FM and keep watching High Impact TV on Niconsat 42 degree East. I am Olumide Shokoya. Good morning.
I am Vivian Oguche. Have a very good day ahead.
Everywhere you go.
No matter where you go, I'll be your
We're with you as your urban lifestyle station.